drops and lariats from the top rope. You can't cope. The effing wrestling podcast in the house. Now that's dope. Starcade and SummerSlam all rolled into one. Drop kick, sleeper holes, 1, 2, 3, done. Whole mics like Mean Gene or Gordon Soley. I'm Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with that Crockett trophy. So listen closely as we approach the final hour in an instant. Hands raised, crowds phase without the time limit. Effing wrestling podcast with that ultimate finish. Suplex, now you're in it. Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show. Let's go.
Hey,
Here we are.
How's it
Here we
going?
are. Chase, what's up? It's good to see you.
JR, look,
Sitting
we're not in the same place, but you know what we're still doing? We're still talking about some effing wrestling.
That's right.
Yeah, look at this new platform.
There's Chase.
How's it going? I mean, you've heard our lovely voices, but now look at this. I mean, JR, I believe this is our 5th episode, and we're not in the same place, but...
No, it's a little different, but I like it.
Look at what technology allows us to do. Isn't it neat?
We got to give the people what they want, and what they want is more of our faces.
They want our faces. They want all of our voices, but they have to have these mugs, you know? They just need these. These are going on T-shirts sooner or later. Just you wait.
For sure.
Just you wait.
So yeah, man. So we started off our shows. You know what I mean? This is our 5th show.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Our favorite wrestler. We covered our favorite female wrestlers.
What about our favorite tag teams?
And
we talked about our favorite manager. That's right.
What do you get when you bring that all together?
You get a faction.
There we go.
Right?
This episode here, we're going to talk about some of our favorite factions.
That's right. When you get a group of strong-willed, egotistical people together and you see them band together for one goal, to reach their own individual goal and to individually screw each other over once their egos get into place. I mean, no faction's ever lasted. I mean, either the numbers game plays out or one person just wants all the glory.
I mean, for one, they're usually always heels.
Yeah, they're usually a bunch of losers that have to band together
except for the newer
get
ones,
a chance. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So except for the newer ones like New Day and all that kind of stuff. But,
well, New Day started out as a heel group, and they just didn't. They became so popular that they became a face.
That's true.
So it's one of those things. It's funny enough, man. A faction is one of the main reasons I kept watching wrestling when I got back into it with NXT and Finn Balor, and that's the Wyatt family. And that whole gimmick they had was just so cool because they worked as a really good faction. You had the leader, Bray Wyatt. You had the muscle in Luke Harper. And then you had the other big bald guy, Eric Rowan. And he was just, they were just a scary
they brought Big Braun eventually.
I was actually watching Raw the night he premiered, and it was such a cool moment because you don't quite know where the character's going. They turn the lights off, and up shows this guy. He's wearing the black sheet mask.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, oh, what are we building to?
Yo, Bray Wyatt is dope. I love Bray Wyatt. Love me some Bray Wyatt.
I'm a huge fan of his. Kind of unfortunate what they're doing with the Fiend character right now.
They're messing him up.
Cool.
They're messing him up. He don't need a belt. He doesn't.
He's a character who does not need a belt. And that's the weird thing about wrestling because it's not a legitimate sport.
Yeah. Being
the champion really doesn't mean what it means. I mean, going back to, I'm sure I mentioned this past, but belts are props. It's just theater, man. And they're the nicest props or the shiniest props, and they're props you want storyline. But to really, when you know you're at the pinnacle, is when you don't even need that belt to be featured. Yes. And that's magical.
The belt doesn't make the person makes the belt.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's how it always should be. That's how it always should be.
I know.
So let's get to it. What's some of your favorite factions?
I think I got to start with the faction that really started it all. Like right when I was watching was Prime WCW. So you have to go with the NWO, the New World Order, man. I mean, you start off with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash premiering across Nitros. And, you know, you have Scott Hall kicking it off. And he has that great promo where he's not quite rocking the Scott Hall voice, and he's still doing that Razor Ramon thing. And we don't know yet to tell us what's going on. And he says,
he wasn't full on Scott Hall. There was a little Razor in there.
Hey, yo.
I loved it.
Dude, it was a magical moment. Like,
loved it.
You might know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And it's him, and it's Kevin Nash is running wild on everybody, and they're just destroying people. I remember when they, I can't remember what stage this was, but they lawn darted Rey Mysterio into one of the crew vans, And that was kind of like, oh
yeah,
my
Kevin
God.
Nash did it, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I remember that. That was that one of the invasions? That was one of the invasions.
I think
When
so,
they
man.
were just
Right.
when they
I
were
think
doing
it's
the
a measure. I'm
invasion
not quite
shows and
100%
shit.
when it was.
I don't remember, but no, I totally remember that.
But I
Totally.
mean, you had the NWO and then '96 Bash at the Beach, where Hogan turned out to be the third man, and that kind of just utterly destroyed people. Neat,
He
man.
was in the ring, and the outsiders were outside the ring and shit. And then they got
Yeah.
up on the ring, and he
just
took it
leg
off.
drops. He leg drops Macho Man, and it's just this whole moment. I mean, that's one of those defining moments of wrestling is Hogan's heel turn, and he had like dabbled into I'm on the dark side of it all, brother. But finally, this was him embracing. He was like Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah.
And when we finally talked about greatest heels, you have to. I mean, he's almost up there. I don't really like Hogan's face work, his whole build up in the 80s and his WrestleMania runs.
Gotta respect what he did for the business, but his work, nah, I'm not a fan.
My sensibilities not really my thing. But his work as Hollywood Hogan and his cowardly runs, that's some pretty good stuff. I mean, for a heel coward, and it was Hogan of all people to play that.
Right.
I mean,
for him to play the heel coward, that's big.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so weird to get that. I mean, yeah, some of his rivalries weren't the best. You know, you had the Ultimate Warrior, but that's getting more into him, and that's another episode of effing wrestling that you better tune in for.
Definitely.
NWO's biggest problem was you had all these cool guys who wanted it in, but then it got so large it had a splinter. You know, you had NWO and you had Wolfpack. And Wolfpack was like uber cool. I didn't go for it because you had Kevin Nash, Sting, Lex Luger, Kano, Randy Savage. Randy Savage got injured early on, so he was out of it.
Yeah. But that's when that's kind of when I kind of fell out of the NWO. It just got too watered down, kind of.
Well, everyone was in the
point. You know what I mean? Everybody was in the NWO.
Yeah, it became one of those things where what did it matter who was in it if everyone who's cool, if all like the really good wrestlers and all the really cool people you want to follow are in it, then who are they fighting? It's no one really worth it. So what are you doing?
And it was just what, Sting?
Sting was in it. You only had DDP. You had DDP. You had Ultimate Warrior for like a cup of coffee. You had the Horsemen who couldn't really quite figure out if they were going to be good or bad, and they kept turning on their own WCW people, which made very little sense.
That was weird.
And then Kurt Hennig turned on them and joined NWO, and that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, you got Dennis Rodman versus Karl Malone at Bash at the Beach. And that's pretty neat.
That was cool.
I mean, that was a cool with that. I mean, Dennis Rodman in wrestling just made sense, and him as NWO with Hogan, it just worked.
It worked for sure.
And all the War Games matches, and I'm just a sucker for War Games.
War Games was a shit.
So what about you, man? Give me a faction, JR. Hit me with.
I mean, I knew we were going to end up talking about NWO. You know what I mean?
You have to. They're
I'm sure there's another one that we'll talk about, but I'll save that. We'll probably just save that one for last.
I think I know the one you're talking about, and I think we will.
Okay. All right. So I'll skip back to one later. I'll go with the Nation of Domination.
Good call. Great call. Like, amazing call, man.
For so many reasons, but for me being a black man, black fan of wrestling, it was awesome to see a black faction, a black group of black dudes come together and try to run shit.
And all solid contenders, man. I mean, they all took different levels, man. I mean, Farouk Assad was such a great leader.
Yeah.
Then you
had The Rock in the face. The Rock was the voice in the face of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until he took over. D'Lo Brown was always my favorite member.
D'Lo, that neck movement.
That neck movement, the low down. He was always my favorite member. Mark Henry and
Godfather.
Oh, Godfather. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kama Mustafa before he became the Godfather. I was trying to remember his initial name.
Kama Mustafa. Yeah.
D'Lo. Still in that.
There were so many. Ahmed Johnson. He's underrated.
Dude,
I used to fuck with Ahmed. I used to like Ahmed.
He's one of my favorite IC champions.
He was straight. Yeah, he was a great IC champion.
Never had the Pearl. Yeah. What was the name? The Pearl Hammer Slam, something like that. It was such a pretty move.
But Sex for Chocolate, Mark Henry,
dude.
Savio Vega, D'Lo Brown, Owen Hart. Remember?
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart was in there for a little while. He was in there for 8 months or so, brother.
Dude, he was part of some major storylines.
Yeah, it was a good little stretch, man. But then you got to see the beginning of Raw.
Yeah, that was the culmination.
And it was beautiful to watch him start from the beginning and to see he got too big for him, man.
Well, no, that was the beautiful thing, man. If a faction works right. You actually have that like lieutenant second tier guy who will just end up taking over.
We always say there should be the main champ, the world champion, the second
tier
champ, and tag team champs.
Well, oh man, I don't even know if I want to get to it yet, because I don't want to spoil the ending. But because the perfect faction already broke up how you do this.
Ooh.
The Four Horsemen faction.
You want to go ahead and go down? All right.
World champion. It's a formula. I can't help it. I can't. It's gonna bring up. Look, there's no greater faction. We've already declared that Ric Flair is a god on this channel. Okay.
The greatest.
His faction is the Four Horsemen. The coolest name, ran by the coolest guys, always pulling the coolest gold, and being the coolest badasses in all of. This means more than anything in all of wrestling.
100%. This has gotten up there.
This is cool. Close. This is cool.
Cool as shit.
But
the four,
look.
Nothing better than
this is neat. Yeah. And this is cool.
Undisputed Era.
But this is legendary.
It doesn't get much better than that.
You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect.
None whatsoever, because there'll never be another number one better than Ric Flair.
No, I mean, then you have like Ric Flair is like that gold face standard guy.
Yeah.
You have Arn Anderson as the muscle, right. And then and then Barry Windham. You come in as the tall beast, and they've switched out people throughout time.
Switched out so many times. Like my favorite, like what's your favorite version of the Four Horsemen?
So my favorite version of the Four Horsemen is gonna be a bit strange because it's right after Arn Anderson. No, Arn Anderson is still there because it's Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko.
Okay, so that was the tail end.
That was like towards the tail end. Like there's still Steve Monduit Michael has been around. It was actually one of my favorite members of it for a long time. And then I actually found out what good wrestling was and kind of had to chastise myself of going, Chase, are you kidding me? This guy was your favorite? Well, he was tall. He had a ponytail, and Deborah McMichaels was with him. That was cool.
I feel you. My favorite version, I don't know if I could. I don't want to have two, but I guess my favorite version would be Ric Flair, Barry Windham, Arn, and Tully.
Oh, I mean, well,
but I also love Ric Flair, Lex Luger, Arn, and Tully.
I mean,
they were. I saw them live. That's the version I saw live too.
That's always that always makes it a little bit sweeter. You know, when you see them live, it just makes Barry Windham. Dude, he was the dude.
He was the best U.S. champion. I love Barry Windham back in the day.
Best you know what? Talk about future episodes. Favorite champions is coming up.
That's coming up.
That's gonna be a fun series. Looking forward to
that. So you mentioned four and the Four Horsemen next. So I'll go with Heart Foundation.
I was hoping one of us would mention Heart Foundation. They were on my list.
Mention the Heart Foundation.
And I knew you would. I knew you would.
You know what I mean?
But because they started as two factions. You know, it's initially the tag team, which is just Jimmy Amon Neidhart, Bret Hart, and Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy, yeah.
We just have the
mouth of the South, man. The mouth of the South. You can't go wrong.
He's managing two Canadians. It all works. It doesn't matter.
Right. But then when they all formed with Bret and Jim and Owen and the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
That was the shit.
They just were heels, man. That anti-America.
Anti-American stuff. That Bret Hart as a heel, I love that run.
Dude, that's my favorite Bret Hart run. As I'm a huge fan of Bret Hart. All his face stuff, winning the Royal Rumble, the WrestleManias, but his stuff as a heel against Austin and the Patriot and Vader and Mankind, when he's just leading that anti-American faction, was great. And don't forget, the loose cannon Flying Brian was like a hot member that he was like right after his injury, so he didn't really have like a lot of the skill set he used to have. He was there for a hot second. Had a rivalry with Austin.
That is true, man. So then the Heart Foundation,
and again, it was
man, they made Pink. They made Pink awesome,
dude.
They made Pink cool as hell.
I mean, you can't argue that Pink can't be cool. I mean, the Heart Foundation rock.
Yeah, and the big dude. I'm a big dude myself, so I've always had a little affinity for big dudes. And the Anvil that's a cool ass nickname. Anvil. He'd laugh and pull his shit. Like my uncle. I remember my uncles loved him.
Yeah. It's really cool, man. On I know we just got into it, but MLW has their own version of the Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
Where it's Brian Pillman Jr. It's Davey Boy Smith Jr., who's the son of the British Bulldog. Then it's Teddy Hart. It's Teddy Hart, who he's the nephew of Bret and Owen.
Okay.
I'm not sure by who.
That's so cool, man.
Dude, I'm going through MLW right now, and I started all the way back to Fusion Episode 1, and I'm watching my way through it, and I'm getting a lot of great Phoenix matches, Pentagon matches, and like I'm seeing a lot of cool stuff from Austin Aries and Isaiah Scott Swerve. His stuff on the end.
Swerve Scott is nice.
He upset. That's such an off subject. I hate to get off on this, but he is being so wasted on NXT. Have seen his MLW stuff?
They're trying though. They're trying,
but I wanted this so long ago, so I'm really happy he's getting that push. I really hope he becomes Cruiserweight champion soon. But that's all.
But yeah, so what's one more? What's one more of your factions you want to mention?
No, one more faction I would love to mention. Oh, dude, to get up in town and also bring back this. Bullet Club brought back how cool the faction is. Jared, give it to me. Come on.
Too sweet, bro.
There we are,
Too sweet, me, bro.
Too sweet, me, bro. Bullet Club is just the hottest shit in all of wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Or it was when it formed, but I mean, it's cool. They took the NWO's idea and they just ran with it. And you had Prince Devitt, who's AKA Finn Balor now. You had the Machine Gun Carl Anderson.
Yep.
You had Tama Tonga, who's just like a badass.
Badass.
Just by ancestry alone, he's just a badass. I wouldn't want him on my bad side.
No.
Luke Gallows, just a cool dude, and Bad Luck Fale, and it's just this cool group that's expanded. They're almost having the same problem as NWO, where they've expanded too much and all the really cool talents there. But you had the lights of the Bucks.
So many people have come through.
Kenny Omega, who we've been over this, is
the cleaner,
one of the two greatest professional wrestlers working today. Come at me, Jim Cornette. Really, come at me. Come on.
You know what I mean? He's good. He's good in the ring. He is. He's
if
really
I keep
good.
Complimenting him, Jim Cornette might yell at us, and wouldn't that be?
Exactly. He'll hear it somehow and end up calling in like, "You fuck Stitch. How you gonna mention Kenny Omega?
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about." It'd be great. I'm telling you. You know what another group we haven't talked about that needs to get brought up? The Heenan family.
Heenan family, nice.
Andre the Giant.
I've heard of him.
Mr. Perfect, Flair, come on. Led by Bobby Heenan. It's a magnificent heel faction.
Can't go wrong with it, man. Heel factions are the best, man. The heel factions just do such dirty shit, man, and I love it.
No, dude, I mean, take out. You had the Shield. I think the Shield is a great example for a modern faction, and it's just three guys, and it told a great story over this long period of arc. Here's three guys who came in as heels, surprisingly enough, and just ran assaults against everybody there, taking them out. The Hounds of Justice.
Hounds of Justice, right?
Heel
and I like them all as a heel. I don't like any of them as a face.
No, they're all
of them need to be heels. But Ambrose or Moxley, whatever you want to call him. I mean, he's kind of the crossover. He's kind of the Stone Cold heel.
He works as a
he's the cool heel.
Yeah, he works as a face for me, that tweener Austin S way. But you're right.
He'll cheat. He'll cheat if he ain't against it.
He'll cheat, but it's not cheating because it's like unsanctioned matches. It's almost like what you expect out of him. Rollins,
it's not like a foreign object kind of cheat or something, but he might grab your tights or something, or he'll poke you in the eyes or something.
Rollins is a great heel. Seth Rollins, I think, is one of the greatest heel wrestlers. I think the experiment of him being a face was interesting, but it went on too long. Right. It's just not his thing. He's going to be one of the greatest heels that company has ever seen.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns.
Undisputed Era. How about Undisputed Era? Right now, they're holding the fort down for faction.
Dude, they're top notch, man.
In America, at least. You know what I mean?
I think they're the first 3-time NXT Tag Team Champions.
Wow.
And I love how they practice.
Adam Cole is the shit. Adam Cole. That little big-headed dude is the shit.
That little alien-headed freak is one of the greatest wrestlers to ever exist.
I could have him as a leader of a faction. You know what I mean? If we were to create factions, which that's going to be our next episode. Spoiler alert.
Effin' Wrestling is going to build their own wrestling factions.
We're going to build factions. And
we're gonna
have a leader,
from
world champion, secondary champion, tag team champion, female member. We're gonna do a female member.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add a manager also, or no?
Yeah, I mean, if it pops up,
as well.
I mean, if it pops up, I mean, I think I have spots for manager. Yeah, you know what? You know me, JR. I'm always coming up with little things. I have managers in some of mine already.
All right. Yeah, our next episode, we're gonna come up with some factions of our own and see.
We're gonna do some fantasy booking here on FM Wrestling, something we've always been talking about doing.
That's always the fun stuff. It's always fun.
And you're gonna see how our minds work as we take the characters of professional wrestling and book our own wrestling factions.
That's right. We're gonna make it fun, baby.
Yeah.
So we'll end it there. We talked about some good factions today.
Same effing wrestling time, same effing wrestling channel.
Join us again. We'll put out some alerts, all that stuff. Like and subscribe on all the platforms. Like, subscribe, leave some comments.
Do that. It's really cool if you do that.
Definitely. We want to meet. We want to interact with y'all. We want to meet y'all. We want to talk to all y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah. Tell us how wrong we are about our opinions on wrestling. I really don't want to read that because I can't deal with that. But Come on, it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. We'll enjoy y'all every minute of it, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Us. We'll see y'all next time on Wrestling.
Bye, y'all.
Yes.
FN Wrestling. We put the F back in wrestling.
Elbow drops and lariats from the top rope. You can't cope. The FN Wrestling Podcast in the house. Now that's dope. Starcade and SummerSlam all rolled into one. Drop kick, sleeper hose, 1, 2, 3, done. Whole mics like Mean Gene or Gordon Soley. I'm Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with that Crockett trophy. So listen closely as we approach the final hour in an instant. Hands raised, crowds phase without the time limit. FN Wrestling Podcast with that ultimate finish. Suplex, now you end it. Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show. Let's go.